So the next step I take after I have all my walls modeled is to start modeling some of the floors. And you can see here all of my walls are either 2 feet or 1 foot generic walls. I don't have any curtain walls or windows. I'm just denoting sort of as placeholders where these would go. And this whole workflow is not necessarily linear, right? You kind of have to go back and forth and up and down. And keep in mind that when you get to a firm, if you're doing this sort of work in Revit for an architecture firm, an engineering firm, this might not be the approach, right? You might get a model and model around things and you're just modeling structure. Or you might model the floors first and then the sort of structure that goes into it, and then model walls around it. This is just the method that we're taking for this class. So the next step here is to go into floors. So we already have all of our levels created, so it's fairly simple, and it's going to depend a lot on your building, right? If your building is fairly asymmetrical from floor to floor, then you might have to do this multiple times. And you can see that I have a very fairly symmetrical floors. I have a lobby over here, and I'm gonna model actually everything here at the ground as a single floor right now. So let's go to the ground floor. I'm going to unpin my Rhino model, and I'm going to hide it temporarily. So you can either turn that off by going to VV and turning off the import, or you can use the shortcut HH. Of course, there's more than one imported family here, so this is the benefit of having a linked file, an AutoCAD linked file. So actually what I'm going to do is select it, and I'm just going to use HH as the hide in view, and you'll see this temporary hide isolate comes up. But that's fine. So what I have here is I'm just going to have sort of a foundational layer, right? And we might split it. In real life you would probably have some thermal breaks, and you would have some sort of waterproofing where there's a little lip or step to get in. But what I'm going to do is go to the architecture tab, and we're going to make a floor architectural. And this is just a generic 12-inch floor, and there's a couple ways I could do. I can start to draw it. I can also pick walls. So there's a pick wall tool, but what I'm going to do is use this pick line command. So here's the pick wall tool if you're wondering, but I'm going to use the pick line command, and it sort of fills in if there's gaps. And I'm just going to go ahead and actually, instead of going through all of them, you can try and tab and go through them. There's multiple methods again, and it's just going to sort of pick some stuff. I'm going to hit check, and it's going to tell me that I have overlapping lines, and what I can do is hit show, and it's going to zoom into it for me. So we can continue here, and it's just because I selected these walls and I had run multiple lines. I had done quite a few actually. So there you can see, let's try and do check again, and you can see all over here I'm missing pieces. So I'm going to use the trim extend tool, which is like the fillet command in Rhino, but it has a 0 radius, and I'm just going to fill in these gaps. Now if I hit check, you can see that we're out of the sketch here, and I can go into a 3D mode. Let's go to 3D node context, and you can see that there's a floor there, right? But I had accidentally put this at -6 feet, so I'm going to change this to 0 feet, and it's going to go from 0 down. So if I go to a north elevation here, you can see if I hide this in the view, you can see it starts, the finish face is at the top of the floor that I want it to be at, and you can add or subtract, sorry, it goes down. So what happens if I made a mistake? You can see that I might have made a mistake here. I didn't go far enough, or I'm too close to it. We can go back to the ground level. Whoops, that is a ceiling plan. Let's go to the ground level here. And if I tab over, you'll eventually get to this floor, and I can edit the boundary, or I can double click, but here I can edit boundary. I can push and pull things. What this allows me to do too is, you'll see on the floors above, I can create openings by drawing in the middle of the floor. So if I hit check here, you can see that there's actually a cut in the floor. So again, double click or hit edit boundary. I'm just going to delete that for right now, and let's go ahead and do the other floors. So I'm going to go to level 2 here, And again, I'm just going to hide this, and actually it might be better to just turn off my imports for right now because I'm just dealing with these floors. And actually it's generic models that I need to turn off. So there we go. So let's do apply. So now I'm just dealing with the edges of the floors, and you have a couple options here. What I mean by that is where you want your floor to end. So the foundation will actually probably continue past, and you'll actually have probably an edge beam, and we'll get to that when we talk about foundations in this class. Or we'll have a spread footing, you know, if you're in an earthquake zone or a place with kind of bad soil, you might have some piers. But what you can do here is you can draw on the inside, or you can again select the lines here. I'm going to use the select a wall command and just tab over until I get multiple, and that's not working. And you can see it's going on the outside. I can turn off this check mark here. It says extend into wall, and it will go on the inside. So that's one option as well. Or you can use the pick line command and just use the interior walls, and we can sort of figure this out. And again, I'm going to use the trim extend command and align this. Let's align all of these. So I am making the option to put the floors on the inside of the wall, and it's much more complicated than this in real life, because you'll have walls that are made of many different layers, and some layers the floor will go into, and then you'll have what's called a thermal break, so that the floors don't leak heat out into the environment. But for right now, let's go ahead and just put the floors on the inside, and if you want to expose them for some reason, you can push them on the outside if you have a temperate climate, for instance. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. I have some strange walls here where I've made some voids. I'm going to hit Don't Attach, because we're not so concerned with that, because we're mostly concerned with the exterior walls. And let's go to a 3D view here. And now you can see again, I've put it at the wrong level, right? It's at the level 2 and it's -6 feet, so I'm just going to change this to 0 feet. And you can see that because it was on the interior of the wall, it sort of sucked in into it. And I'm going to go ahead and turn a section box on here. So there we go. I don't know why that wasn't popping up, but I'm going to push this section box into the building, and now you can see that I have a floor here. Let's go ahead and turn the shadows on, and you can see it a little bit better. So here's what it means by attaching the floor to the walls to the floors, right? If I attach the top base and I attach it here, it's going to push it down. It's still connected to up to level 2, but now they're not going through. So you might have to go through and change some of those things eventually. And again, we're not doing a ton of stuff in the interior, and it's not going to matter so much, but yeah, let's go ahead and go to our level 2, and I'm going to actually click this floor. So here you could see I eventually hit the floor, and I want these to be shafts. There's a couple ways. There is actually a vertical opening tool, or you can go ahead and edit the boundary to cut out these this area. And if you have multiple of them together, you can actually sort of do something like this, where you have an opening now. And let's go ahead and go to the 3D, and let's push the section box back, and you can see that if we cut through the elevators here, that there's no floor. So that'll be really nice, and we can put some openings in there too later, some doors, and you can denote. So I have to do that over here as well. Now if I have multiple floors in a row that are the same, I can go to like a north elevation, and I can copy this up, and you can see in the 3D view now I have a floor there. But I can also Control C, and if I go to the modify pane here, under the paste, I have aligned to selected levels. And so that was at level 3, and I know I want that at level 4, level 5, and the roof. And so it pastes into all of those places. So let's go ahead and turn the section box off here. So now we're back. And for this one, let's say I just didn't want that. I could double click and delete that. And so now I have a clean sort of interior, right? I have a clean roof plan. So lastly, I'm just going to show you again how to change the sketch of this element, and I'm going to hide this wall here temporarily, so you can see that if I didn't want this to go all the way out, right? I want some light in this lobby. I can double click this, and I can actually, do something like this, where I trim and I fillet the elements together. And I'm drawing in 3D, which is not the greatest idea. You might want to go to the mode where the floor is drawn in if you're having a hard time seeing. But I'm going to fillet these elements together, and let's hit check, and that's okay. And so now you can see that one floor has been brought back, because I don't necessarily need that. I'll have a staircase that sort of wraps around and goes up in there. And maybe I do extend this out. I can align elements, and so let's push this out here, and that's okay. And now I would have a platform for these to raise up to, and I can also push this back. That would be fine, yeah. So it would be something like that. So here's an instance where you might have to use a vertical shaft, right? If you, if I click this and I want to align this here, this is an intersecting line, and Revit doesn't really like that. So you can sort of fudge it, right, by pushing it into place, or getting it, fairly close, and then it will work out. But what you might have to do is just use the vertical shaft tool. So I'll show you that for a second. So here we're going to make an opening, and it's going to ask me what I need a work plane to sketch in. So let's go ahead and go to level 2. Run the command again, and I can make an opening in the building here, and I might want to do it on the stairwells as well. And actually, what I should probably be doing is going to the exterior of these elements, right? Because the walls won't necessarily have to be cut by the floors. So just kind of cleaning this up, and then we can do that, and that looks all right. And so here, before I click enter, you can see where it's starting. So I actually want to start this at the ground, but I don't want it to go through the ground. I mean, I probably would, because you need a little bit of area for the elevators. But let's say this is, well, let's just put 0 since the floor is below the ground. And then I want this to go all the way up to the canopy. And hit check here, and now you can see if I go to a 3D view, you can see that all of these floors have been cut. And if I tab over, you can see that there's that shaft, and I can push and change the size of the openings. So that's it for floors. You can, just like walls, you can select them and you can change them. So for instance, here's a 3-inch lightweight concrete on a metal deck. So these can just be placeholders for right now, right? And when you design your gravity systems and your lateral systems and your beam systems, you might need to change this to a concrete deck, just as an example. Or if you have a cast-in-place system, these might stay the same, and we might join the beams with the floor, but they need to be a little bit less deep. So we would change this to like 8 inches. But we'll show that on later on. But that's floors for now.